Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to
Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
Coach Elko's my guy, right? Like, I love him. I love Michael Early. Like, I think Bucky's going to be incredible.
It's football, man. And that's what Warriors do. They don't want to sit out.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Buchanan.
Nuño.
So you're this newspaper columnist throughout the years. So I'm going to ask you.
Excuse me.
Okay, sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, TexAgs Live. I'm going to ask you, what's the lead from Saturday's game? Because I think you could take it a couple of different directions. But if you were the guy making the headline, were you the guy who had to decide the lead? What's the lead?
Well, it was the explosiveness.
Okay.
It was the Immaculate Concepcion. Of course, if you wanted to not just focus on him, but even though that punt return got everything started, you look at what the two transfers did. You kind of try to make a play if you can on the transfers.
Yep.
Mario Craver and KC Concepcion.
I wrote this down. The portal wasn't just an upgrade, it was transformational.
There you go. We're on the same page.
Because it completely changed. But I want to talk for a moment about balance culture. Are you familiar with balance culture?
No.
You know those guys and ladies that love to, mostly guys, that you say something positive, but what about the negatives?
Oh, okay.
That guy. Well, I met him a lot this week. That's the guy who wants a participation trophy. Everything's got to be balanced, right?
Okay.
Yeah, there were some alarming things in that game, but you won a game by 18 where your quarterback was efficient, where your playmakers made plays, where there's things definitely to fix. It doesn't have to be one thing. It could be multiple things, but you can still come away maybe a bit neutral about certain areas and certainly excited about others.
I came away with one thing, just one thing that I came away that was, I felt like was, I don't even want to say it's time to panic on it by any means, but concerned.
Concern is perfect for it.
And it was the propensity still to give up the long play in the run game.
Yep.
Because, well, we missed a fit. Yeah, you missed a fit all last year. That was almost like, it's not quite to this, but it's almost like getting to where we just got to find the inches. Yeah, you missed the fits all last year, and then this guy goes 75 yards. Why? Because you missed the fit. When do you stop missing the fit, especially when you have better teams coming up? But other than that, by the way, on those misfit, that was a 75-yard run. A&M played very sound, even excellent run defense, literally 90% of the time.
Except
they had 203. UTSA had 203 rushing yards on like 51 attempts, something like that. I mean, maybe I'm being off one or two. They ran for like 140 plus, 145 on 5 plays.
That sounds like last year.
It does. So, but the pass defense was excellent, which that was a point of concern, especially when you consider that was an opponent that can throw the ball and throw it well. And then I thought like you said, the explosiveness of the receivers, the way Marcel played. I'm not worried about the quote lack of a running game. They weren't trying to establish a run.
Yeah. No, I wasn't worried about it. I want to see some running because I think that's the identity of this team. But that being said, let's go to the happy times again.
Okay.
All right, we'll go back to the miserable times because that's what people love to talk about more than the fun stuff, right? But the happy times, KC and Mario Craver, all right, the Sunshine Band that they are, I had to do an OB there.
Yeah.
They were more for one game. We got to see it throughout the season.
Right.
I know that. I wish I didn't do qualifiers, but sometimes people want qualifiers and I fall into the trap. For one night, They were more than I expected.
Yeah, you got the big dividend payoff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you made your investment and boom, it comes out. It's like Luke and Broniger playing their stocks. Sometimes Broniger's bragging, hey, I got this stock tip from Luke and I've got this much money. And about a month later, you say, well, you know, it's come down a little bit. That happens, right? But for your initial dividend, it was a bonanza.
So I think, and I'm going to ask this question to the audience because sometimes people say we don't take calls. We take calls. Some of your calls are good. Some. Question is, did you come away with more optimism or pessimism from this game? 979-693-1150. We'll get to that in the next segment, but 979-693-1150. I came away neutral with areas of optimism, right? Like, holy smokes. Because I'm not going to say if, that pass attack is better. Marcel was better. The receivers are better. Now I'm going to tell you something else. I believe Le'Veon Moss is still Le'Veon Moss.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that do for Le'Veon Moss when you've got, and Ruben, and Amari, and EJ, and Jermaine Morrow? What does it do for them when you can throw, and you know those wide receivers are going to get separation? What do safeties do? What does everybody do?
They back up.
Interesting.
And so when Ruben or Le'Veon or Amari or whoever takes at some point in the season, takes a handoff and gets into the second level, that the angles for the safeties that take to make that tackle and keep from being a big game change.
Yep.
Being a big game change. And so you become more likely to turn a nice game into a big play.
You look at, they won by 18 in a game where they didn't have to run the ball, and they didn't run the ball. And if you look at last year's narratives, well, things changed once teams knew that A&M couldn't run the ball. They just waited for Marcel to throw. Well, I don't think UTSA was, first off, A&M didn't try to run the ball very much, and UTSA wasn't going to make it easy for them to run. Marcel had time. He looked poised. He definitely missed a throw, right?
Yeah.
Right, definitely. And he'll tell you, he said it in the press conference. But I believe the identity of this team is going to be still smash mouth football when it's all said and done. And the fact that they can be a hybrid team at times, to me, is very exciting offensively.
Yeah, you know, we talked about in the offseason that we thought that A&M was going to have a highly productive, explosive offense that was going to average between 31 and 35 points and maybe more. And what do you know? They go out there and score 42. Yeah, 7 of those came on a punt return. Yeah, that's an offensive player. That's part of it. So as far as the running game goes, not only was I not concerned with it, I know they weren't great. Ruben had a 30-yard run. I think Le'Veon only carried 3 times, and one of them was a 12-yard run. I'm going, what are you upset? I used to tell Gabe Bach this, and I know you know this too. When you're playing a non-conference game against a decent opponent, I'm not even saying a good one, but I'm saying a decent opponent, and quite frankly, UTSA may be better than that. I mean, look, their linebackers. One was at Alabama, one was at TCU. It's not like that the talent level is night and day. Typically what happens is that team will play you a strong game for a half, and then as the second half wears on, the fact that you're bigger and a little more talented and deeper starts taking a toll, and then you see the better teams pull away. That's what happens most of the time. But part of doing that means, especially if you're running a team, is just keep running at them. You know this, running teams typically get more productive as the game goes on.
Correct.
A&M wasn't trying to do that. They wanted to work on Marcel in the passing game. Mike Elko even suggested as much. So if you're concerned about the running game, I think that's an overreaction. Never overreact positively or negatively to the first game. And if you're concerned about the running game and you're going to base it on what you saw in one game where they weren't trying to run as opposed to all of last year, then I think you're overreacting.
Obi, what is considered, in your opinion, a blowout against a power, Division I team?
3 touchdowns.
3 scores, 3 touchdowns? Okay. And look, I know some playoff teams, expected playoff teams this year and playoff teams from last year. Blew out some teams week 1 and week 2. But there's also a couple that struggled early on. Okay, I'm going to give you one. SMU played, I forget who they played early on, but they barely survived. Arizona State played Mississippi State in week 2 and won by 6. Was Mississippi State good?
No.
They won 2 games.
Yep.
So I guess what I'm saying is
SMU beat Nevada by 5.
And Nevada was one of the worst teams in the country.
Yep.
Right? I think they didn't win a conference game.
It's showing me 2025. But hold on.
Okay, thank you. Hey, Luke, good to see you, buddy. But
they lost to Penn State.
Yeah, they won 3 games last year.
Yeah.
They won 3 games. Did they win any in conference?
Are they in the same conference as Eastern Washington? I don't think so, right?
Yeah.
No, that Eastern Washington's an FCS team.
Yeah, no, they didn't.
So my point is, it's not what everybody wants sometimes, and I don't even want to spend too much time. It's not on what everybody wants sometimes, but this is part of the storyline. Like this is part of like a transition through a season. This is part of the chapters. Like, all right, we're trying things. We're not doing everything right now. And yes, there's some red flags that we're going to monitor. Monitoring and concerned, I think, are good words, but also they came away with an 18-point victory.
I think there were. I mentioned it. I think there were 5 plays, 5 that were concerning. And really, of those, a lot of their runs, that kid, Henry, he's a good player.
Yeah.
He's an NFL prospect, running back. A couple of his runs, like they had a 3rd and 13, he got 13. They had a 3rd and 10, and I think he got 15. And it appeared to me, and Mike Elko today might tell me I'm dead wrong on this, but it appeared to me that A&M was so sold out on the rush, on the pass rush, that they didn't even consider the possibility of running. And Jeff Traylor and his coaching staff made a good anticipated that, made good calls. The guys jumped, burst out. But I would say there are 5 plays in that entire game where I came away, literally feeling like, okay, that's a problem.
Yep.
And by the way, what was your score? Your predicted score?
I said 40-24 on the pregame show.
I had 44-20. So, and let's not forget that UTSA cost a lot of Aggies money because they threw a 34-yard touchdown
after a
pass
timeout
against all backups with 14 seconds left.
Yep.
So you said 18-point game. It was 25 points, a 25-point game into the. What did you expect?
I do think it all boils down to the 75-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
The fact that it got tight in the 3rd quarter, like, oh.
And what happened after that 75-yard touchdown?
6 straight punts.
3, 4 straight?
Yep.
And 3 or 4 straight, 3 and outs?
5 straight.
5 straight, 3 and outs. I think.
The adjustment.
Elko. I think he made how do I want to say this? I think he had a conversation with some of his other defensive coaches, position coaches.
Hey guys, let's chat for a minute.
And I think he got somebody's attention, and
things were fixed.
Things were fixed.
Hey, by the way, I think you know this. This is TexAgs Live.
TexAgs Live.
We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Yeah, a gem of a guy.
Yeah, God, such a good guy. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio.
Yeah, that's Jason Rollo on the wall. A gem of a guy.
Another one. Yeah, he's a dollar sign of a guy.
A dollar sign of a guy.
And we are currently hanging out in another dollar sign, the Holistic Planning.
Cool Zone.
It is so cool here.
It's cool as a cucumber.
It is so cool. If you want to be a part of the conversation, there are multiple ways to do it. I forgot. How do they do it?
Well, you can call the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline.
I like that hotline.
Yeah, and you can call that at 693
let's do
979.
Let's do the prefix first.
979, area code 693 1150.
By the way, for the kids in here, there was a time where you could call 693 1150 and not type in 979.
Yeah, if you're local, right?
Yeah. So if you're wondering why OB makes that. So, by the way, the question, as I mentioned, did you come away with more optimism or pessimism? But you got to tell me why. I want to hear from you at 979-693-1150. We'll get to those calls here in a minute. We'll go around the room left to right to say hi to the people. Behind the glass is our director, Nick Savage. Nick, good morning, sir.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
Hello.
I'm going to say more optimism, and it's because I'm sure y'all saw Bronny's tweet, and he makes a good point, an obvious point, but it's a good point. He put out on Saturday that the 2 transfer wide receivers out of the A&M program combined to make 5 catches for 41 yards and no scores on week 1. The 2 wide receivers brought in, obviously KC and Mario, 11 receptions, 199 yards combined with 3 touchdowns. So that's why I'm more optimistic.
You know what makes me most optimistic, and I am more optimistic, is again, UTSA is and has been and was a really proficient even, passing offense. And Luke, Owen McCown, and all those receivers that made them 11th in the country. Now, that was against different competition, but it showed that they have the acumen to throw the ball. And the A&M pass defense, which was such an issue last year, not only held up, but played extremely well. And to me, going into the season, that was the number 1, maybe number 2 area of concern is, are you going to be able to cover better? And they did.
Yeah, I came away neutral from the game. Like, I'm not more optimistic, not necessarily pessimistic. I want to see what adjustments they continue to make with the run defense. And I don't think every game KC and Mario are going to combine for that total, but I'm certainly intrigued by it. And now the world's going to start paying attention to Casey Concepcion and Mario Craver.
Yeah,
and that's going to open up other things.
Start looking for Ashton Bethel Roman.
Yeah.
Who had a 30-yard reception.
Yeah, how about that? All right, let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Luke Evangelist, we haven't discussed the other games because we don't have to, but I know you were watching Miami and Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think a lot of A&M fans were interested in that one. And I would say for the first, I was texting our group chat for probably the first quarter. I was like, all right.
We're not on that group chat. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. Well, none of y'all are awake past 9 p.m. So
he texted me at 9:36.
Right.
I was asleep.
I would say for the early part of that game, I was like, you know what? Notre Dame looks pretty beatable. Maybe it's first game jitters. They're not really trying to run the ball. I feel like they were trying to force the pass. And then as the game went on, I was like, okay, wait, Notre Dame might actually be pretty good, but they don't look to the same level that they were last year.
I think CJ Carr looked really good, though.
Yeah. But that defense isn't what it was last year.
Hold on. His face is telling me something.
I think he was pretty good.
Yeah.
I think he was helped in a huge way by a massive coverage bust. Mm-hmm. But I'll give him credit. He saw it.
Yep.
So you remember the play that I think Miami was still up 21-14, and they had a massive bust, and he was almost as open as KC Concepcion was on the 48-yard throw. He was wide open for a 48-yard touchdown, but Marcel threw it 50 yards. Yeah. So it was like, it was a play that if you see it, anybody in college football would make. I thought the big difference that I saw with Notre Dame quarterback is last year, Riley Leonard, who everybody suddenly forgot how good he was. If you needed a first down, he could run for it and get it. And CJ can run, but he's not the threat that.
No, but didn't he run for a touchdown? I feel like he ran up the middle for a touchdown. Am I right about that? Yeah.
He can run.
Yeah.
But he's not the threat that Riley Leonard was.
But he can throw. And that's where he's a threat. Did the cornerback from Notre Dame ever come back in?
I have no idea.
I know they picked on him. That's where that touchdown happened early for Miami, the first touchdown. He did? Okay. All right. Let's get one A&M update before we hit a break.
I mean, I can give you all the A&M updates just wrapped up in one. It was a whole weekend of winning. Aggie volleyball went 2-0. The women's golf team won the Carmel Cup by 26 strokes, and Texas A&M soccer beat Lafayette 7-1. Right. So everybody was winning this weekend.
Winning. We'll get to those phone calls, 979-693-1150 on the other side. OB, let's talk about a love affair of food.
Let's do it.
You saw it.
I ate it.
Well, yeah,
last Friday.
Yeah, but you saw. Well, I put my foot down. I was a dictator, if you will. When we got to 1775, OB was trying to be on his broccoli diet, and he's like, no, because we went with iDoc, Mike, and you're like, we just need 2 macaronis, queso mac and cheese.
Yeah.
And I said, heck nah. And I used the H, loud, 2 H's.
Actually, I knew that I was going to eat so much of that succulent brisket and a lot of that jalapeno cheese sausage and the turkey and the pork ribs that I felt like, if you get too much of this queso mac and cheese, I'm going to leave here in a food coma.
Yeah.
And so I said, so just get 2 so I won't eat as much. But
I said, nah, I'm getting my own, bro.
So I thought, okay, I'm going to eat just a little bit. and a little bit came into, okay, I'm going to eat half of this. And then like the next thing you know, it's all over and I'm in a food coma.
And they're kind of happy / upset with TexAgs because we talk so much about the queso mac and cheese that people keep ordering it and they have to keep making it. It's like not
Isn't that the idea?
That's the idea.
Brandon?
Like Brandon and Brad, like that's the idea. They're happy about it, by the way. But like, man, we're always working on it. And we got the sampler. It was amazing. And we ran into a former A&M 12th man, Rene Casas, who was there eating.
Yeah.
He says he listens to the show all the time.
And you go out there, not only are you going to get good food, I mean great food, but you're going to meet some great people. You're probably going to, if you just are nice, you're gonna probably make some new friends as well.
You met Coach Branch from Consol, so yeah, a lot of friends there at 1775 with amazing food. Check out the website 1775txbbq.com or call them up 979-492-6241.
It's good.
Hey everyone, David Nuño and Olin Buchanan and OB. Typically we start off the show in this section and we call it the Holistic Planning Cool
The cool zone, yeah. It's pretty cool.
What do we know about holistic planning?
Well, a lot of cool stuff. For instance, holistic planning can help you with your investments.
I love that.
They can help you with your taxes. So
I don't like paying taxes.
You can get that money from your investments and they keep it. They'll help you keep it away from the government.
Yep.
Not all of it, but more of it. And then they'll even help you with your estate planning. When you're old like me, you got to make sure some of that money you made is there for when you want to retire and just enjoy the rest of your life.
You want your estate to be planned. But they also do something else.
Yeah, well, if you are like, say, a sports fan, and you've always wanted to...
Everybody watching us, right?
Yeah. And you want to always dream of being an owner, well, in a certain way you can, because they will broker the deal for you to invest in pro sports.
Yeah, what you need to do is check out investinprosports.com. That's where you can get all the information if you want to invest in a team. I don't know what team. He'd probably try to buy the Cowboys. I'd try to buy a lot of the Houston teams. Whatever it may be, investinprosports.com. It is holistic planning, and we love hanging out at the Holistic Planning Cool Zone. And we're back. It is TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio, the Go Hour. I don't know if we talked about the Go Hour in the first segment. This whole hour is presented by the Warehouse of CC Creations.
Senor.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. So some people have spoken.
Okay, let's hear
Some
what they
people
say.
have opinions.
Okay.
So let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center, because the commentary on the YouTube page and also on the text line and TexAgs chat, on the premium chat, we're getting a wide variety of opinions.
Yeah, we're getting mixed reviews. I'm seeing really impressed with not only the quickness and speed of the new receivers, but their hands. I'm also feeling pessimistic, feeling pretty neutral about what I saw. Wait and see on the offense, but not really concerned about the offensive line. Some people are more concerned about the offensive line and the running game.
I don't know. It's like, if you go back and watch Le'Veon last season, he's a volume running back, right? Like, and by the way, he only got 3 carries, but like
15 snaps.
Like he's going to get you as the game goes on, and that's been the A&M running attack anyway.
Right, and they weren't, like I said, they weren't trying to establish it. Again, Ruben Owens and Le'Veon Moss combined for 8 carries. So, if nothing else, doesn't that tell you something?
Mm-hmm.
And of those 8 carries, one was a 12-yard run by Le'Veon, and one was a 30-yard run by Ruben.
Yeah.
So 25% of the carries went for, were explosive plays or close to explosive plays. So, and again, teams that run the football get better the more you do it, typically. So that's not. Do you expect them to just go down and maul a team like UTSA at the line? Yeah, but they weren't trying to.
Right.
They were literally trying to focus on the passing game, and it turned out to be a pretty wise focus.
Premium chat, Cat D11 Ag says, optimistic. Moss ran 3 times for 19 yards. Run game was basically put on the shelf. Good to see the O-line rotations. Did not enjoy the D-line play and edge containment.
Okay.
That's all fair.
Yeah, and the first touchdown, the guy, it was Henry again. That one, I think it was not played well. He got around the edge, and it was an easy touchdown for him. But the other long runs with the 75-yard run, I thought was, it looked to me like your linebackers misplayed it, and then your first safety just whiffed.
Yeah,
and that's got to be cleaned up. But and then the other ones, again, I thought they were just so sold out on rushing the passer that UTSA took advantage of it. And so maybe you just got to slow down just a tad to make sure they're not going to run a draw at you.
Couple of chats I'm going to read. Philip Tyler says, OB needs his own show.
Well,
FCC violation. But
and this and that.
I need my own show on Sirius Radio.
But I got it. Why don't I, for 2 minutes of this segment, play the analyst and you play the host? And we're going to start the segment with a little music. Luke, if you want to start the music.
Do 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 do.
I would like to. I'd like to think I have much better music than that, right? I think you just tanked my show right there. You just ended my ability to ever be a show host with that.
Blaming it on someone else.
It was doo-doo. I'll say that.
Law Boy says, Billy has you guys working on Labor Day. No. We get to work on Labor Day because we love football.
And because Mike Oko's having a press conference.
Yeah, this is part of it. Today is like a legit full work day. Like nothing's different.
I don't think I've ever had a Labor Day off.
You haven't either. That's why you've worked just for 12 minutes. So.
Yeah. Welcome to the sports media business.
All right. OB on the other side.
Okay.
I think we should do the turning point, which I think is an easy one. Okay. And then maybe talking about some of the other games and getting a little bit deeper into A&M. Sound good? So remember I've told you before, this is my way of segueing. I've told you before that duck camp gear you can wear in any environment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Heard that often.
Yeah.
Because you can.
Yeah. You can wear fishing shirts anywhere, right?
Yeah. I've worn them other places. No one ever told me I can't.
Interesting. You know I'm wearing a fishing shirt right now? Looks like a dress shirt.
I didn't realize
it's a fishing shirt. Dress shirt alert. Fishing shirt alert. That's what you can get at duck camp. You get it all.
You need to get a hat with a bunch of lures on it.
I could do that. I wore a hat yesterday on the Luchador. I don't usually do that. I did.
I'm going to have to see that.
Yeah. But no, I don't think it matters. It's just a hat. Scout shorts, essential hoodie, lightweight fishing shirt, And the performance hoodie, I think, Nick, you're wearing one of the hoodies right now, right? Yeah. You want to just show the people? Look at that. Look at that great thing. Check it all out at duckcamp.com. Duckcamp.com, built for the outdoors and designed for everything else.
Let's talk a little Snaps clothing. David Nuño here, and I love wearing Snaps clothing everywhere. I've got the flannel on right now. You've seen me in the Tailgater collection with the A&M gear. It is fantastic. If you see me around town with my sons, Christian and Cruz, they've got a bunch of Snaps gear. When they have big games for Consol, they wear nice clothes, so they wear their Snap stuff. And I'm telling you, with baseball season here, let's all kind of go looking stylish and fit to the games there at Olsen wearing the Snaps clothing. As a reminder, they are the only official licensed Texas A&M Pearl Snaps maker out there. Their Tailgater collection is built for game day with breathable, moisture-wicking fabrics to keep you comfortable while you rep your Aggies in style. Now, whether you're watching the game from home or maybe you're in attendance, you're tailgating, whatever it may be, you got to make sure you head to snapsclothing.com to see everything they have to offer. It is fashionable, it is awesome, and you're going to love it.
And we're back, TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio, The Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. He's Olin.
He's David.
Thank you very much. And he's Luke Evangelos at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Luke, some messages you want to read? You got a big smile on your face.
Yeah, well, there's a YouTube chat from AJ that says, OB, are you a Meek Mill fan after the fourth quarter light show?
I have to admit, I have to plead ignorance on Meek Mill. But if
Are you saying that because you've been to a party with him? You don't want to admit it?
But I don't know him. But if he's Meek, he's going to inherit the earth.
Meek Mill's a rapper.
Oh, imagine that.
Yeah, he's a rapper. Well, what does that mean?
Because you knew him. Was hang out with him.
I've never hung out with Meek Mill.
Is it?
Trust me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does he?
Just Google it sometime. Let's move on. Anyway, the turning point.
The turning point.
The turning point from the game, I believe, and I think you know where I'm going with this, right? Or no?
Okay. I know. I don't.
I think it's the Henry touchdown.
I agree 100%.
Because from that point, the defensive coaches got together and said, all right, enough of this BS. We're going to move on and we're going to take care of business. And it was 6 straight punts. There was at one point negative yardage. The only first down they had it during that time was on a penalty. I think it was the second play of the next drive, which Tyreek Chappelle got the defensive holding, if I remember correctly. That, to me, was the turning point. And then, oh, by the way, later on, Theo scores on that beautiful 4th and 1, which to me was like a 4th and 1. What are they going to do? They score.
And I love the creativity. Okay, so just to be different, because I was thinking that too, because they did after that. Rarely do you point at the other team's play or successful play as being the turning point in an A&M win, but I can agree with that. But just to be different, I'm going to tell you that the turning point was the Casey Concepcion punt return, because the Aggies had the ball twice before, and there was a couple of nice plays in there, but they had to punt on the first 2 possessions, and then Casey Concepcion goes crazy. But watch, if you can see him, 22. Watch E.J. Smith blocking like a bat out of hell.
Did they block?
He blocked like crazy on this play. He blocked 3 guys. E.J. Smith blocks 3 different guys on that punt return. But so after that punt return, the A&M offense scores on their next 2 possessions, and I think that kind of jump-started everything. But I agree with you though on the long Robert Henry run.
So I'm right now seeing a lot of negative chatter online of just what people think. So I'm going to read. You want to read Lane's, and you can also read Bosis and Nez. You just go back to back to back. Or do you want me to do it?
On YouTube?
Yeah, on YouTube.
Okay, you said Lane.
And I want to take them each in parts. Yeah, let's go with Lane-O.
Yeah, our O-line looked like bleep. And they are supposed to be a veteran unit. Defense.
Stop. Right there. We're going to have Jim Turner on the show this week. I'm going to be curious I don't know if the O-line looked like bleep. I don't know if that's the case. I thought Marcel had time to throw.
I think the pass blocking was phenomenal. They had 3 guys graded over 80 on PFF, and there were only 6 pressures the entire game.
Okay, and then the run blocking, I think you can certainly look at it and be like, oh, what? But they didn't try to establish the run.
Exactly.
And also, it's the same unit from last year. Were they able to run the ball last year?
They ran it very well.
I don't think they're going to go backwards. I don't think that's how it works.
It could, but I don't think it will. I'm agreeing with you. I think they're going to be a very strong running team when they put an emphasis on running the football.
Okay, let's continue on that thought. What did you say? Defenses can't wrap up?
He says, our D-line can't hold. A defense still can't wrap up and out of position. No reason to think they will get more than 8 wins at the moment.
Okay. Well,
you know what I love doing, though? By the way, until they prove that they're better than 8 wins, they're an 8-win team.
Exactly.
But I love the ability to be a moderator on this YouTube page and look at comments from 3 months ago and 5 months ago and 8 months ago, because people's opinions do change. And we're going to win 11. You know?
Yeah, they change within the same quarter sometimes.
They change within the second of me sitting next to you.
Again, I'm going to reiterate, with the exception of 5 plays, you got to take those 5 plays. You got to find a way to stop those 5 plays from happening, or at least reduce the the volume, the margins of those 5 plays. But with the exception of 5 plays, I think A&M's defense was excellent.
What did Bosa say?
Bosa said, I'm really worried about our defense. We cannot put pressure on the quarterback. Our O-line cannot hold against UTSA. This is going to be
the
a
same
long
thoughts.
season.
What teams do against A&M is they get rid of the ball real fast.
Yep.
Olin Buchanan did not hold on to the ball very long. And the one time he did, Ron Kennedy got a sack.
It's true. And on top of that, I think A&M was playing it pretty vanilla. I think. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But I think they played it pretty vanilla, and I would hope they would. If you're going to do anything exotic, I think I might unveil it in about 2 weeks.
And I'm not trying to change anybody's opinions. You have your opinions. I have like certain things that I'm concerned about or monitoring, but I'm just giving you a little perspective of what I think happened. And Coach Elko, who I think is a straight shooter, basically said so much after the game. And then I guess we don't have to read the Nez one, but not pessimistic or optimistic. Nez just believes we're the same team again.
You already said it. You said it about 30 seconds ago. You're an 8-win team until you prove you're not. You're supposed to beat UTSA. That game went about the way we both assumed it would.
Right.
Do you got to get better? Yeah. Mike Elko's going to tell you that. But if there's certain things you wanted to see to feel like you had a better team, I had to see explosiveness and speed at receiver. Man, I saw that. I had to see an efficiency from the quarterback who supposedly has some, arm strength issue. Again, the only real knock I have on what I saw from Marcel was he threw a 48-yard pass, 50 yards, right? So there's that strength of, and then if you were concerned about the way A&M's pass coverage, well, they did a heck of a job in pass coverage. In fact, I'm looking at this. The longest that UTSA had one pass completion, one of 20 yards or more, and that was the one with 14 seconds to go against backups.
Yeah, we were so scared about the secondary. I don't know if we were all so scared, but that was one of the storylines heading into the season. Man, secondary played great.
I thought from
a coverage perspective,
I thought Des Ricks was exceptional.
Yep.
Will Lee was Will Lee, and I'm not sure the best DB out there wasn't Marcus Ratcliffe.
He played great,
and they need safety play to be upgraded, and he played really well.
Marcus Ratcliffe was the highest graded defensive player for A&M according to PFF. Led the team in obviously overall defensive grade at 80.5, and then also coverage at 82.
They keep coming up with stats like that, and PFF's going to be my BFF. 3
completions, 10 yards. That was
pretty
good,
good.
OB.
Well played, sir. Well played. Let's get one more stat in because I know we got a caller. It looks like actually we'll go to the Buppies Catering and Bartending Hotline. Aaron wants to chit chat a little bit about this game. Aaron, good morning. Welcome to TexAgs. That's a good call.
Aaron?
Yeah, Aaron.
Aaron?
Hi, Aaron. This is why we don't take calls.
Let's move on.
Aaron.
Do you want another stat?
Yeah, I want another stat.
How about the special teams unit, right?
Yeah.
Tell me a lot
about that return game.
Yeah, the return game. Let me add it up real quick. They gained an additional 209 yards of field position in the kick and punt return game. Tyler White, well, first of all, Jared Zirkle made all 6 of his extra points as A&M's new kicker. All of 5 of Randy Bond's kickoffs were touchbacks. Terry Bussey had 67 return yards, 48 in the punt return game. Tyler White pinned UTSA inside their own 20-yard line 3 times and had 2 punts of 50-plus yards. UTSA's average starting field position was their own 25.
Yeah, I wonder where A&M's average starting field position was.
Yeah.
Because probably around the 33, probably, 32. I mean, seemed like they were always having good field position.
By the way, Bosa says, can our defense put pressure on and hit like Miami did, especially on the road? I'm not sure that we have the dudes to do that. You're not expected to beat Notre Dame.
Yeah, not on the road. I mean, I think you can. And look, I'll say this. If you're going to base everything on that game, then yeah, you're going to say, because look through it, I always say look through it through the lens of can that be, I used to say an SEC championship team, can that be a playoff team? There's a pass rush. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was was dormant. Like you said, there's too many McCowns. I wanted to call him Luke earlier, and then I wanted to call him Josh. Owen. That's an experienced quarterback that knows how to get rid of the ball, knows to get rid of the ball. And they were.
Okay. We're going to try. Apparently, Aaron could hear us, and Brian Broadcasting could hear Aaron. We're going to try again.
Okay.
Aaron, we hope to hear you here on TexAgs Live. Aaron, Buffalo, hello.
He's in Buffalo?
No, I was just doing Larry King. All right. We don't hear Aaron, so we're never taking a call ever again. The history of the show.
We got to figure
again.
That's one of those kinks that you got to get worked out. Like Mike Elko, maybe he's looking at that.
This is the rush defense from the other day, and we're going to fix it in the second half of the show when we don't take callers. All right, that's what the plan is.
Maybe we can do like after the 75-yard run, and before the show is out, get it all fixed.
All right, let's hit a break. When we come back, let's go around the SEC. Luke, I want you to tell us about some of the big games, and then Opie and I will chit-chat about them. Sound good?
Gotcha.
Thank you for your approval. Let's talk Rollo Insurance. They build lasting and long relationships through education, helping you understand what you're buying and the why behind it. With expertise in everything from home and auto to business and specialty coverage, their agents provide a tailored plan for your specific needs. And they also take the time to explain your policy fully in plain language, ensuring that you're never left wondering about your coverage. And this educational approach will empower you to make informed decisions protecting your family, your home, and your business. Many clients discover better protection at a competitive rate simply because they finally understand what their options are. The difference is real at Rollo Insurance. They have 60 offices in the great state of Texas, but you can find their headquarters right here in College Station on Highway 6. Visit rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. That is rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, or call them up, 888-44-ROLLO. That's 888-44-ROLLO.
Everyone, David Nuño here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever, and also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group, and they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports, and they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no-pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs, and remember, gig 'em.
All right, we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Garner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations, David and OB, and Luke at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Luke, tell us some games, and we'll talk.
Well, obviously there were a lot of games on here that a lot of people watched, but let's start with one that I don't think a lot of people were watching. Kentucky barely beating Toledo 24-16.
Zach Calzada, 86 yards passing or something like that?
Yeah, it was real ugly over there.
I watched a little bit of that game. Just it was quite boring.
Yeah, I would categorize it as that as well.
Next.
South Carolina looked really dominant yesterday. They pulled away late.
We usually do Overreaction Mondays, and I had it on the rundown. Overreacting, I was wrong about Lenoris Sellers and that defense. Lenoris still is, he's better than he looked last year.
Yeah.
I mean, that touchdown pass to Nicholas Harbor, and Harbor is a man.
Yeah, and they should have had another one as well.
And that defense didn't give up a touchdown. Sorry, that's impressive.
Yeah, but is that because Virginia Tech's just not very good?
It could be. Could be, but
as you say, it could be. Two things can be true, right?
They, I believe, they are the hottest team in the SEC. I think I saw in the last 8 games they're 7-1. Nobody else has.
Virginia Tech outgained them.
This is true. No,
but
they couldn't get in the end zone, well, especially early.
Dropped some passes. I remember one. They had a swing pass, and it's going to be maybe a touchdown. If not, it's going to be a 30 or 40-yard gain. The kid just dropped it. I came away impressed with Lenoris, like I always am.
Yep.
I thought their offensive line looked suspect for South Carolina, and I thought their defense looked vulnerable.
Yep.
How about speaking of another team that didn't necessarily start the season fast last year, LSU beating Clemson 17-10. Another low-scoring top 10 matchup, but
Clemson didn't try to run the ball at all in the fourth quarter.
I thought
I got to say the LSU defense was impressive, OB.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they were. I didn't get to see the game because, I was watching another one at the same time. But I was keeping up with it as best I can. It's a good game.
Yep.
Expect it to be a good game. I'm not going to pump the brakes on LSU because I thought they'd be pretty good. I still think they're going to be pretty much what they were last year. That didn't change because I have to admit that my optimism for Clemson's season is more based on the fact that they play an ACC schedule than the fact how great I think
I'm more optimistic for LSU because those wide receivers were exactly what they advertised.
Yeah.
Nuss was good. He wasn't. I mean, I think he was solid, right?
But they had good receivers last year.
Yeah. But they lost last year to start the season.
Yep.
They won this year, and I think that for a team that was 8-4, they're certainly trending in a better direction.
Well, yeah,
than
I think they're going to win at least a 9-win team.
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe they're going to be national champs. But based on that game, I still have to see more.
Clemson, really good defense, and LSU was still able to capitalize on the road. Clemson 155-11 when they had the lead at the half all time.
And LSU's defense was what would collapse late in games last year, and they actually made a lot of game-winning plays.
Harold Perkins was fantastic on that final play. Maybe the other game?
How about Auburn and Baylor? Sawyer Robertson throws for over 400 yards, but Jackson Arnold was.
Well, Jackson Arnold, all he did was run, OB.
Yeah, and let's be honest. Again, I sound like I'm discounting everything everybody else does. I don't mean to. Baylor was terrible on defense last year, so they're terrible on defense again. Okay, yeah. When you play Auburn, you better have a spy or somebody willing and ready to watch Jackson Arnold as a running threat.
Yeah.
So for that reason, and that reason alone, I am so glad DJ Durkin is no longer the defensive coordinator here because that whole concept never really appeared to dawn on him. And oh, by the way, did Baylor move the ball up and down the field on Auburn?
Yeah, they did.
And who's the defensive coordinator at Auburn?
His name is DJ Durkin.
Yeah. Smirking Durkin.
Let's quickly on Texas.
Yeah.
I think Texas looked like the better team in that game with some questionable decisions in the red zone and a coach that did not trust his quarterback and a quarterback that looked a little bit frazzled initially, but I thought he played well in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But I think Texas is in a weird position, OB, because they could have won that game, right? But now because they lost that game, that Florida game coming up here in a couple weeks and that little stretch, I think do they go from playoff team to out of the playoffs quickly?
I don't think Texas looked like the better team. I think their offensive line, as we expected, or as I expected, got beat. But I do think Sarkisian's play calling made it more difficult on Arch Manning.
Unscientific poll. I feel like most people were pessimistic and just unhappy. It won't matter how much secondary has improved if the front seven can't run or put pressure on the QB. Guys, let's just enjoy an 18-point victory against a pretty good program in UTSA. But I get it. Everybody likes being mad. OB, I'm happy that you're here. When we come back, Marty Smith, always happy. I bet you he'll be optimistic. And we are back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline to talk with Marty Smith, brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Some things just go better together. Burgers and fries, Friday nights and football. And now Academy Sports and Outdoors plus Whataburger. For a limited time, exclusive Academy and Whataburger tailgate gear is coming in hot. Score game day gear, fan styles, and more. Dig in now at Academy, where the fun can't lose. Marty, good morning, sir.
What's up, brother? How you doing today? Happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day to you. Thanks for joining us here on the show. So let's maybe do one big SEC takeaway, and then we'll kind of break down some games. What'd you think of the weekend from what we saw from SEC teams?
I think the teams that opened with elite opponents will be very well prepared moving forward. And I know you want to kind of go through them game by game, but just on the surface, Ohio State's defense was incredible. Arch Manning is fine. Florida State hit Alabama in the mouth and came out with an intensity and an emphasis that Alabama didn't match. I really like what I saw from LSU. Of course, they prevailed and in a very difficult environment. And they prevailed because of a new philosophy from the top that the entire organization bought into. So I still look at the floor of the SEC as so high, but it's going to be interesting to see who emerges as elite at the top. So that's kind of my takeaway. Those games were fantastic, man. If you're a college football fan, that's as great an opening weekend as I can ever remember. They were thrilling games. I grew up a Virginia Tech guy, so watched the South Carolina Virginia Tech game very closely yesterday, and we'll get into Lenoris in a minute, but that's a very special football player, and what Shane's built in Columbia is to be admired. And so I think that it's going to be a really interesting year in the league, man. Who can emerge? Because there's a lot of parity and there's a hell of a lot of question marks for several different organizations or programs.
Marty, from an A&M perspective, I think, it's good to beat a team by 18 points of UTSA's ilk, but fans wanted more, and that's probably a good problem to have if you're A&M, that you beat a team and still you look at it like, man, your rush defense really needs some work, and they did kind of fix it during the game. I know you're watching a lot of the game, so it's hard to kind of like pencil in on particular things, but maybe any takeaways from what you saw of A&M?
Yeah, I watch a lot of, so the morning after, in our job, we have to really pay attention. And so I watch a lot of tape and a lot of those truncated highlight packages that are put together of various games. But that's it. Wanting more, if you're Mike Elko, is the best problem to have when you beat a quality opponent. And I felt like he said it best after the game. Zero's a good thing when you're talking about the loss column. They answered a lot of questions. The offense looked explosive. The return game looked fantastic. That punt return was so well executed. If you go watch that football play and you know any damn thing about football, it was so well devised, very well blocked, and 7's a problem. Texas A&M fans are going to love 7 in the return game. And you won all 3 phases of the game. And you said it, David, really quality adjustments at halftime in that run game defensively. I felt like Marcel Reed looked good, had the 4 scores. He was on time, accurate most of the time, spread the football around to all kinds of different people. And the biggest question mark coming out of it, you said it, is that run defense. But I felt like Coach Elko explained it pretty well, that a lot of those breakdowns were kids playing for the first time and learning while there's bullets flying around. And so that's something that can be corrected, and you would expect will be corrected. And so I think there's reason for great optimism in College Station.
Marty, let's talk about the Texas-Ohio State game. Arch struggled initially. I thought he looked fantastic towards the end of that game.
He did.
What was more impressive, or what stood out more, I should say? Arch's early struggles or maybe Ohio State's defense?
It's the latter. Look, Arch is fine. He's fine. He's a great football player. He's a great young man. The hype train was egregious. We fall all over ourselves building people up, and then we froth at the mouth to tear them down. It's just stupid. Credit goes to Matt Patricia and the Ohio State Buckeyes because they made his life hell. Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, 2 of the best football players in the country, and those guys in red flew to the football with an intensity and bad intentions when they got to the point of attack for 4 quarters. It was a clinic. 4 Texas drives ended as 4 and outs, turned it over on downs. So respect goes to them. And it's all still right in front of Texas. They didn't play an inferior opponent. They played the defending national champions who just reload. And so I personally think all that credit goes to Matt Patricia and Ryan Day and that defensive side of that football for Ohio State. I just feel like they looked really impressive. Arch certainly was out of sorts early in that game. But people expecting him to be Peyton got to remember, like, this is his first real go at it. He had a couple goes last year at home. This is the most hyped. I don't remember a game, especially in the first game of the season, that had this kind of juice around it. And so he's fine. He's fine.
Talking to Marty Smith here on TexAgs Live. Marty, the LSU defense, they proved something to me, and they needed to. What did you think about the way they held Clemson in check, especially in that second half?
Yeah, 12 yards rushing. I mean, Clemson had 12 yards rushing in the second half, and I think the number's 31 or 35 or something overall. And I think that Brian Kelly and his group, with that shift that I mentioned earlier, Brian Kelly's never been a 1-0 leader, ever. And he said to Ryan McGee and myself, and probably you as well, anybody with whom he spoke at SEC Media Days back in July, that he put great emphasis on shifting that for the first time. He made himself uncomfortable. We're not going to look at totality. We're going to look at week 1. And, of course, the players come out. There was much hoopla and to do about them having 1-0 shirts on during warm-ups. But that, for young people, that messaging is very important. And it landed well. And I felt like, just from a schematic perspective, that Blake Baker was able to use Harold Perkins. On another show last week, I was discussing with the hosts who we all three felt like was the most important player in that game. And they chose quarterback and they chose offensive lineman. I said Harold Perkins. And the reason I felt that way was because he's healthy for the first time in a long time. Of course, he tore that ACL last year. And he's in this star position where he can use his athleticism, because he has athleticism that is very rare. And he was able to spy Cade Klubnik and mitigate Cade's incredible athleticism in the run game for the most part. They kept him out of rhythm. It was just a fantastic performance by Blake Baker and that whole group. And I think that America was introduced to Mansour Delane, whom I knew about because he was a Virginia Tech guy prior to jumping in the portal and going down to Baton Rouge. Everybody's going to know that name by the end of the season. Just a fantastic job by that defensive side, and I was really impressed with Nussmeier, too, on the other side of the football. Great command. They're a problem, dude.
Marty, Kalen DeBoer's lost 4 games to unranked teams. I believe Nick Saban in his entire time at Alabama lost 4 to unranked teams. The physicality that Florida State brought to that game, I didn't expect it from a Florida State perspective, and I didn't expect for Alabama to be pushed around like they were after that first drive. What did you think of what we're seeing? Actually, let me ask you that. What are we seeing from Alabama?
I was surprised. To me, again, that was the biggest surprise of the weekend for me, because you have a football team in Tuscaloosa that does have some veteran pieces, guys like Deontay Lawson and that group on the defensive side of the ball. And Florida State that was a hell of a statement. and by Mike Norvell and his guys and Tommy Castellanos. You know, of course, there's that quote during the offseason, we're not scared of them. And everybody was like, and Alabama's response was, it'll be dealt with on the field. And Florida State was just better. And so Alabama, as I said about Texas, it's still all right in front of Alabama. They have a lot of stuff that they have to do better. And really, to me, that starts with intensity. I wasn't there. I was watching on TV just like y'all were. But you could sense that there was a different level of intensity on one side versus the other. And I don't know why. And, DeBoer took it on his shoulders. He said, that's on me. And I'll be really fascinated to see what adjustments are made there. And if they can, if this is a lesson, because it certainly should be.
Marty, knowing Virginia Tech the way you do, I'll just share this with you. I, at SEC Media Days, was like, I believe Lenore Sellers is great, but I think he's going to take a step back because some of the players around him and that defense is not going to be as good. That defense was just as good, and Lenoris was just as good or better, and Nicholas Harbor is a beast.
Yeah, just a stud, man.
Just what about that game?
I just marvel at Lenoris Sellers' command. What you noticed yesterday against Virginia Tech was confidence and competitive stamina. And the most important thing a quarterback can have is self-confidence. Because with self-confidence comes playing free, and man, did he play free. He knew exactly what Virginia Tech wanted to do, and time and again he took advantage of them, and he got better as the game progressed. His strength in the design quarterback run game is one of the most potent weapons in the country this season. And if they can keep him healthy, there's been a lot of hype around him too, entering this season. He's really shot to the top of a lot of draft boards and a lot of Heisman lists. And man, did he meet the call yesterday. And Virginia Tech's better than I thought they were. They were really physical yesterday. They couldn't score any points, but hopefully they can clean that up. Kyron Drones, of course, has been there for several years, and there's a lot of expectation on him, and he missed a lot of throws yesterday, but they could be a problem for people if they can clean that up. But, yeah, South Carolina impresses me, and Shane Beamer, what he's done there. I had a buddy over last night, and we were having a bunch of cold beers watching that Notre Dame-Miami game. Took the boat out, took our wives out, gorgeous sunset on Lake Norman. And we came back to watch that game, and he's a huge Clemson guy. And I said to him, because he was asking me about great coaches, and I said, Shane. And he's like, wow, you would put him in that list. I said, yeah, I would, because what he's done by coaching these young men up. I think if you look at rosters top to bottom in the SEC, just from a talent perspective, he doesn't always have the God-given talent that a lot of these other programs in the league have. That includes A&M. But man, does he just get so much out of him, he and his staff. He and his staff. And so I think he's done such a great job, and we'll see where they end up, but that was a really nice start, and Sellers was every bit of the hype yesterday.
Marty, John Mateer, I didn't know much about him entering the offseason, and I started watching. I was like, man, this guy might really be everything that they're saying.
Yeah, he's a bad boy.
1 week, I'm buying it. I feel like they're going to take it to Michigan.
Yeah, so a couple things. When you just look at his statistics at Wazoo, I mean, you have 4,000 yards and 44 touchdowns. I don't care if you're playing against air. That's pretty impressive. So, okay, he comes over to the SEC. A lot of people felt like he was one of the most important portal acquisitions. Count me among that group. And he's just a dude. When you meet him, I was just instantly impressed. I mean, he walked into the Marty and McGee set at SEC Media Days just because he wanted to meet us and say hello and introduce himself. That impresses me. And so now you see what he did on Saturday and really good numbers. I'm going to Norman tonight to sit with him tomorrow for College Game Day piece. And I look forward to diving deeper into who he is and why he is. But I think it's all there for him to be the next great OU quarterback. He certainly has the skill set. He has the moxie, the toughness. And I have very high expectations, as many do. Everybody thought that was going to be Jackson Arnold, but it didn't work out. He's over with Coach Freeze now. But I just feel like Mateer is this throwback personality, and that just suits that program and Brent Venables perfectly. And they need him. So, impressive debut for sure. We'll see what happens against Michigan.
Marty, let me close out with a non-SEC question, but it'll affect the SEC. In a couple weeks, A&M goes to South Bend. They take on Notre Dame. They lose a close one yesterday. I was super impressed with Miami. But C.J. Carr, I thought he looked like a poised quarterback as that game went on. What did you see from C.J. Carr?
Very impressed. He made a couple athletic plays. The one touchdown where he snaked his way out of the pocket and got to the left outside of the pressure and delivered a strike. That was a very impressive moment. And they played a really good team. I mean, I was so impressed with Miami and their physicality, and really happy for Carson Beck, really happy for him. Great command. He had a confidence that we didn't see a whole lot last year. And I think a lot of that confidence comes from when you are when the expectations are so high and there's a lot of criticism from a lot of different avenues coming at you. And then you transfer and you go play to that level against that quality of an opponent and get a victory that was, to me, the signature win for Coach Cristobal at this point. A lot of emotion comes with that, and we saw that emotion during his post-game address last evening. Carr is a really good player, and he's going to continue to be a really good player. And if he can stay ahead of the chains, have a few explosives, open it up for the great running backs they have. Again, I said it about two other teams. It's all right in front of Notre Dame, man, especially in this iteration of the sport.
I kept you a lot longer than I should have. I apologize. But
no, it's all good, man.
If you can, tell us what's on the podcast this week.
We actually have part two. We did a great interview with Greg Olson from the former Carolina Panther, former Cane, a couple weeks ago, or last week, I guess. And I learned so much from him. He is such a good man, but he's had such a unique life with what he and his wife have gone through with their son's heart condition, with his passion for youth sports, with his very interesting perspective on NIL transfer portal, with the fallout and the education he received from winning an Emmy and then being replaced by Tom Brady on the Fox broadcast team. Such an interesting person, and he's been a friend to Jimmy Johnson and me for a very long time here in Charlotte. He's someone from whom I've learned a lot about life, and I'm better when I'm around him. So part two coming. Part one was very well received. So while y'all are mowing a yard today and grilling out and having your cold beer, throw that on your iPhone. It's pretty cool.
Marty, thank you, sir. Talk to you next week.
Thank you, bud. Always appreciate it. Have a great week, guys.
Appreciate it, man. Marty Smith there on the Bubby's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Always good stuff. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. Billy should be here. Right now, we're talking about Paragon Financial. If you're looking for real peace of mind when it comes to your money, check out Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. They're an independent fiduciary serving clients all across Texas. No sales pitches, no commissions, just honest financial planning and investment management. What really sets them apart is over 9 CFP, CFA, CPA, all on staff. These folks take the credentials, their credentials seriously, and they work tirelessly to help you build a future that you can feel very good about. Go to Paragon-ADV.com or give them a call at 979-693-3907 to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financials, integrity, expertise, and trust.
Hey friends, David Nuño here for Prize Picks. They're back on TexAgs, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to get $50 once you play in $5 lineups. And Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Football season's here, basketball coming up, baseball, you name it. You go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs and start having some fun watching sports, making some money on there. And you can play Prize Picks in over 40 states, including California and Texas. Remember, they'll give you $50 in lineups once you play $5 lineups on Prize Picks. And they have the new thing. It's called It's Good to Be Right campaign, and they're kicking off the upcoming NFL season with their bold new campaign, It's Good to Be Right. The seasonal long push celebrates the thrills of getting it right, from the perfect prediction to winning your Prize Picks lineups. Prize Picks, it's good to be right.
California.
So we've got Goo Goo Dolls in my head and my earpiece,
All right, what about
and
the
we've
Goo Goo
got
Dolls?
Eagles on the other side.
What about the Goo Goo Dolls?
Iris.
We're on the air. If you didn't realize that, it's TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. And as a reminder, our final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50, but right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls, reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. Billy Liucci's in studio. Hello, sir.
Hello, David. What did you and Olin do this morning?
You didn't listen?
I got a lot of texts.
No, you didn't. There's no chance. There was nothing.
Kidding. Just you know how your parents do that to catch you.
Yeah.
Something like
You're trying to catch me.
you admit it, but no, I didn't.
No, that was Friday that we got in trouble.
I didn't listen.
You told us.
Well, I mean, I don't know if trouble would be the right word.
Weren't in trouble.
So, anywho, we unfortunately we don't do Shane Gillis stand up on this show. Otherwise, that would have been okay.
Right. Well,
Friday, but so
my good friend Shane Gillis.
Talk to me. Oh, your good friend Shane Gillis isn't real happy today, is he?
No.
After last night.
I think if I'm Notre Dame, though, I'm like, offense is going to be. Jeremiah Love's going to get his carries.
Yeah, I heard Luke give his expert analysis earlier on how he had written them off, and now they look like the next coming of 2012 A&M. You got Johnny Manziel at quarterback and C.J. Carr, and they got their own Mike
Were you not
Evans.
impressed with C.J. Carr?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I was impressed. I think I never was watching that game going, Notre Dame's going to suck. Like a lot of people were. I saw texts, I saw group chats, everybody, oh, they're stinky. They're no good. Like the word Luke likes to use to describe, like I didn't think that. I just thought they were getting off to a slow start against that's a really tough place to play when they care.
Yeah.
You know, not the atmosphere, even when A&M played there during that day, it's like it was just, as the game went on, it got a little, there's a little intensity in there, in that stadium that is not, I don't see it at Kyle Field. I don't see it at it's got a little bit of like, you see it in Death Valley. There's just a different level of like, it just feels, there's like a tension in certain places. There are not many. I think maybe the old like Raiders games would have been like that.
Don't you think that tension is caused by something that Aggies are not? And I think Aggies are respectful fans.
Yeah,
and like LSU, you might get a battery thrown at you, or in Miami, you might. You know?
And I don't think, when I say tension, I don't mean, oh my God, I'm scared I'm going to get hit by a battery.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the two tie in together. And when you get that crowd going down there and you get all those former players there, you know, the Aggies were lucky their game against Miami was a day game and not a night. And you do that on a Sunday night. That was the rare atmosphere there at Hard Rock Stadium that is daunting. And so you go down there, you're a young new quarterback, you go on the road. And by the way, like, Miami doesn't suck. I don't love Cristobal at all, and he almost blew that game last night. But I think Shannon Dawson's really good, and they've got a lot of talent. You know, we saw that a couple of years ago when the Aggies went down there and thinking, I don't know how many of us just stood up and thought that the Aggies were exponentially more talented. I don't think we did that. But you saw that talent on display when you're going, man, Miami, you know, no one's talking about them. They're better. They got better guys in the secondary. Their O-line looked really good. We heard they weren't good. They looked like monsters up there. They always have that. So when you go down there and it's a season opener and you've got an inexperienced quarterback, that's why I picked Miami to win that game. That was a very tough assignment. I said this throughout the offseason. I tried to debate it with people. Carson Beck is a lot better than people give him credit for. I don't think he's great, but he can throw the damn football. He could throw it at Georgia. He didn't have weapons last year. When he had weapons at Georgia, he had a terrific You put up terrific numbers and had a season. I mean, am I nuts for saying that I think Carson Beck should be, sitting up there near the top of your, week one Heisman list against a Notre Dame defense in a win, doing what he did, throwing the football? I mean, was Nussmeier more impressive than Beck? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Was Klubnik? Obviously not. Was Lenora Sellers? He had some moments against Virginia Tech. Their offense put up, it took them a while to get to 24 points. I mean, I thought Sellers had a not really nice game, but I mean, like, what QB in a meaningful
game, yeah,
was more impressive than Carson Beck this weekend? Now, I don't think that's going to go on all year, but wouldn't it be ironic if it's Beck with no longer with a Cavender twin stuck in Miami, as they tried to make it sound like, as if that was
a bad thing.
Carson Beck and Shannon Dawson and some of their talent on offense. The ACC got real interesting this weekend.
Yeah,
between Florida State, Miami, and then Clemson losing, and I think you can't count out SMU. I feel like I always do, but they'll probably be in the mix as well. But now all of a sudden you look at that conference, you go, this is a pretty interesting league. I was saying that Clemson had nothing to lose this weekend.
Change your mind.
Yeah, now I think that they, because now you're on the cusp of like, I thought they'd roll through the ACC and win it. Now I'm definitely not so sure. I mean, I'm not even close to being sure about that. So ACC got a lot more interesting. You start wondering, could they get a couple in? They got 2 in last year. They probably will this year because those 4 will a couple of them will, I think, end up rising to the top. But I think it was a really good weekend for that league. Clemson's loss notwithstanding.
Yep. Let's hit a break. We'll come back with more right now. Daily Company. They're a family-owned, licensed, and insured business that offers HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and generator services available to you 24/7, 365. When it comes to HVAC, they'll take care of your thermostat, your refrigerant leaks, your furnace failures, and your seasonal tune-ups. They can also help you set up your generator for installation and ensure you're prepared for power outages. They'll take care of electrical wiring, outlet repairs, upgrades for safety and efficiency. On the plumbing side of things, they'll take care of your leak repairs, your clogged drains, your water heater installation, and they want to make sure those pipes are in top shape. They take care of all of Bryan College Station, Houston, and Austin with upfront pricing and no surprises. Contact the Daily Company at 979-260-2020. That's 979-2060-2020. And visit them online at godaily.com to experience the daily difference. All right, friends, David Nuño here. While I don't drink a lot of vodka or tequila, my wife does, and that's okay. I can talk all about it here because it's time for Frio Vodka and Rio Agave Tequila, and they're ready to raise their game with the right team, and it starts with Texas brands at Total Wine and More. And before we cheer our Texas Aggies on to victory, we need to stock up on tailgating with the right partners when it comes to adult beverages. And that's why we love Frio Vodka and Rio Agave Tequila. And they're proud to be in their second year as sponsors of TexAgs. And now through Labor Day, this is really important. All profits will be doubled and donated to the Kerr County Flood Relief Fund. It's Texans helping Texas. That's right. The local brand and diehard Aggie fans are continuing support for our state. We're talking about Frio Vodka, not some orange and black labeled brand. Frio is 6 times distilled, handmade, crisp, clean vodka. This is the only vodka that should be poured in Aggie land. And Rio Agave Tequila is ideal for Aggies, whether it's the award-winning additive-free Blanco Tequila or the tasty ranch waters using 100% blue agave. You can taste the passion and dedication in every sip. These premium products are about supporting Aggieland and the Texas A&M community. All right, friends, this season, keep it in the family and pour with a purpose. Pour Frio Vodka and Rio Agave Tequila. And we're back, TexAgs Live. I think you'll appreciate this, Billy. So we have a new listener to the show, Still the King on YouTube page, and asking if we do this daily. I was like, yeah. And he goes, all we need you to do is add Raheel as a guest. I was like, stay tuned.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Raheel.
Yeah. Anyway.
Raheel the heel.
Raheezy, as it was said on the YouTube page. So, Billy, yesterday we said we weren't going to overreact. That was kind of the theme of the Luchador podcast. I want to take the same kind of thought process, but in a different way. I think it's okay to be thrilled what you saw over the weekend and still be cautious. And you don't have to overreact either way.
I mean, that would be wise. And, whether you're playing a great team, like last year when A&M played Notre Dame, I think everyone overreacted. Everyone. We had OB sitting here throwing a fit that you have to win big games like that. And it was literally the guy's first game ever to coach at Texas A&M. And within the next 6 weeks, they won 2 big games. And then they lost some big games, so and we overreacted to that too. So there's a difference between overreacting and overanalyzing and being excited and being critical. Like being excited, being critical, those are normal things. So like, hey, I'm excited about what this passing game can be with Casey Concepcion and Mario Craver, not to mention some of the other guys, and I'm excited about what that could mean for this offense in terms of opening up the running game and really getting it clicking in year 2 under Colin Klein. It's one thing to be like excited. If you watched last night's game and projected that type of production and all the way out against every opponent, you'd be, I think, putting too much stock into it. If you look at that run defense and you're critical of it and you say, man, I'm really concerned. I did not like what I saw in terms of run defense. And yeah, they settled down in the second half and probably would have pitched damn near a shutout, but they didn't because one play went for 75 yards. So one play didn't even go for 20. It went for 75 yards and a house call. So to be critical or concerned is perfectly normal, but just like with the offense, to project that out and go, this team's going to suck against the run this year, that's taking it several steps beyond what you actually know. And you might be right.
One data point.
But, man, I've seen plenty of struggles early in the year by teams that turned out to be practically areas of strength, or certainly not the weaknesses you thought they were the first game or two. And I've also seen areas of strength in the first couple games that turned out to be fool's gold. The good news is I don't think those receivers are fool's gold. I think they've got, because of the transfer portal, they've got a proven track record. I think what they did Saturday night was pretty special, and it showed like elite level playmaking ability. So that part, I think you carry with you for sure. And the run defense is, I think that's a legitimate TBD, and that's not a great feeling. But it is TBD. But Billy, it is not a sure thing.
It's a TBD, but imagine the feeling had they not fixed it mid-game.
Well,
right? They adjusted.
I wasn't at all worried about Mike Elko fixing it at halftime. In a first game, you also don't know how a team's going to attack you. And I think they're playing defense thinking Olin Buchanan and those wide receivers are going to come after him. I know they knew that was a good running back. Elko talked about it all week. But I think they were probably expecting more balance, maybe less. I think they popped them a couple times too on third downs, which they got to work on. Those third down runs that just the quick hitters that you're in a defense expecting pass and there's a soft spot in the middle and they hit it. They adjusted very nicely. I had no doubt they were going to do that. The only time I had a doubt was when I saw that dude racing straight up the middle of the field for a 75-yard touchdown. Then I doubted it for a second there. I doubted it big time. There he goes.
Thanks, Nick.
But with that said, when they went into halftime, I definitely thought Elko was going to rectify it. And by the way, if they didn't, we'd be talking about a lot different football game right now. We'd have been talking about a 4-quarter game as opposed to one that, like we said yesterday, went damn near like all of us expected, with the exception of them having a running back go for 177. outside of that, that game went almost exactly like I would have expected it. And 35-17 through three quarters and 42. I would have, the only difference I would have thought A&M in the fourth quarter were just lined up and racked up some garbage time rushing yards, controlled the clock, and got out of there at 42 or 49 to 17. But heading into the game, this is about what I expected. Although I expected the Aggies to be a lot better against the run.
And when we come back, maybe we can touch a little bit on the secondary, because coverage, that seemed good. Some people are questioning A&M's ability to get after the quarterback. Olin Buchanan was getting rid of the ball, just like we saw last year a lot of teams do, quickly. It was quick.
And Cassius Howell had 5 pressures in the first game. They had 5 pressures. They got close, but yeah, he was getting rid of it really quickly. And you're going to see a lot of teams do that. And then the better teams on the schedule are not. I think Notre Dame will try to counteract that with a lot of drop back, take off by CJ Carr. And we'll talk about that next week. But a lot of these teams, they're not going to do like, I think Utah State, you'll see very similar this week. They're going to not let their quarterback sit back there very long. He's going to get rid of the ball super quickly. But at some point, if teams are doing that, it's fine if you don't get sacks and pressures because they're doing that. But that also means they're not getting deeper into the route, so you shouldn't be allowing nearly as many big plays as a result. Because he's getting rid of the ball quickly. They're not running as far. You should be tackling guys and limiting big plays. So hopefully that ends up being a result of that when you play teams like UTSA, Utah State, or anyone else in the SEC that decides to do that.
If your organization or business is looking for an opportunity to engage with Aggies, you should check out the Association of Former Students. They bring Aggies of all ages together during their marquee events held throughout the year. Aggie Ring Day, All Aggie Hullabaloo Gathering, they all welcome tens of thousands of guests. And there are many sponsorship and vendor opportunities to get your brand in front of those attendees. And they offer a wide variety of both digital and in-person options to promote your brand. And this includes title sponsorship, naming, on-site presence, activation, recognition, and social media posts, and much, much more. There's also advertising opportunities in both the Texas Aggie Magazine and the Aggie News newsletter, which are seen by over 230,000 people. So if your business is ready to engage with Aggies, choose a partner with the organization that's been supporting the Aggie Network for over 140 years. For more information on options available through the association, please email sponsorships@aggienetwork.com. It is the Association of Former Students. And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. We go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. People are talking. Luke is responding.
Yeah, we've got a premium chat to read from the Good Poster. He says, against UTSA, 33% of Marcel Reed's dropbacks used play action compared to 26.4% last season. He was lethal on play action attempts, going 12 for 14 with 166 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a perfect 158.3 passer rating.
Marcel was solid.
I thought he played really well. I mean, he wasn't perfect, but I don't know why we're judging him against perfection. I could tell you some of the bet. You know, he overthrew a touchdown to KC that he would probably make 99 times out of 100. I think one of his other bad throws of the day was actually a shoestring catch turned into a touchdown by Mario Craver. So there weren't many. There were a couple more. He wasn't, like I say, he wasn't perfect, but
he was good.
I think he was really good.
Yeah.
He had 330 yards of offense, 4 touchdowns, no picks, no turnovers. Ran when he needed to run. I'd love to see him run a little more. Made some throws like that one right there to Casey Concepcion. He threw one to Nate Burkacher over the middle that was great. He liked that play right there, Craver's first touchdown. He's leading. He led the guys where they were catching the ball on the run, on the move, going across the middle, whether it was the swing or screen passes. I thought there's another. I mean, all these highlights are guys crossing that he's hitting in stride, throwing the ball out in front of them generally. I thought he had a really good game, and he was calm and poised throughout. And it was a slow offensive start, didn't faze him. And part of that slow offensive start, too, by the way, had to do with, like, you think about the way the game went. The first drive, 15-yard gain. Second play, penalty, 1st and 20. Next play, wide open Le'Veon Moss. He stumbles and, gets tripped up on his feet. That's probably a 12-yard gain to make it 2nd and 10, 2nd and 8, 7. Punt. Okay. Next drive, they don't convert a 3rd and 2. Punt, 3 and out. Next time, Casey Concepcion, touchdown. It took a while for them to get going. Their first 2 drives were unproductive. Again, one was due to a penalty. And then their next 2, they scored touchdowns. And then the next one, they went down the field a little bit and ran out of time. So I was really happy with the game. There's a great throw to Nye Black. I thought the game Marcel Reed played in a season opener was great. I mean, it wasn't like I'm not saying put him in New York, put him as a first-team All-SEC. I don't know whose expectation that was, but I thought for a season opener, and I think if you go back now, Luke, little project for you. Take out the Texas game, which I think was, he and the offense's worst game last year that he was in. And go back and do from New Mexico State, Auburn, USC in this game, and give me his stats. Completions, attempts, yards, touchdowns, interceptions.
You want total or you want game by game?
Combined.
Okay. All right.
So you can take time and do that. But I think you're going to see that outside of Texas, this dude's been really impressive in 5 of his last 6.
So Captain Butler on YouTube says, anyone else see that 4th and goal? Yeah, I saw it. And wish that was here last November against Texas.
Yeah. I mean,
that was a beautiful play, though.
We all thought that. It was a beautiful play, and it's a play that they can replicate a lot of ways. You look and you saw that you could give it to the motion man. You could give it to either motion man, but you could give it to the wide receiver coming left to right. You could throw it to Theo crossing. Marcel could run it in.
Yep.
You could hand it to Le'Veon. There's a lot going on there, and it was a lot. It was too much for the UTSA defense to handle. Wide open touchdown. That's always your best friend on a pivotal 4th and 1. That if you didn't get it, things were going to get tense in there. I wasn't that concerned. Ran him up 21-17. If they, somebody told me I wish I knew who it was because I totally disagreed at the time. I was like, I Like, you're playing to win. That's what they said. You got to win this game. And I'm like, yeah, a field goal lets UTSA go down and tie it late in the third quarter and make this place really tense and up. Well, what if you don't get the touchdown? Well, you have 1 yard to get, so you have a great chance of getting a touchdown that puts you up 11, puts a lot of pressure on them, probably starts the beginning of the end for UTSA. You're a yard away from starting their demise. Why would you not take it? And then, even if you don't get it, they've got to go 99. They've at least got to go like 30 before they can flip field position. So I thought it was an easy decision by Elko, and it was the right decision. And then it helps when you get a brilliant play call too.
Daniel, yes, you did hear correctly. 11 different pass catchers in the game. Set a break. When we come back on TexAgs Live, we're going to play the what if game for a moment. And then we'll just go position by position, kind of get Billy's thoughts and go around all the SEC and the rest of college football. You are listening to TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. We'll be back in a few. And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Here's one from Gage. Billy, we get the run blocking and run defense cleaned up, we're going to be very, very dangerous. So the what-if game, right? Mm-hmm. If what we saw when the adjustments were made are a sign of things to come, what does the season potentially look like? Because there's both what-ifs. What if this is who you are, what you saw for the 170-plus yards rushing?
If that's the case, you're going to struggle to go to a bowl game. So right. I think they're going to shore that up to at least a degree where we're not talking about that. But, you can't not stop the run and win in the Southeastern Conference, nor can you beat Notre Dame not stopping the run. So we all know that. Like that's if that's not fixed, a lot of conversations we had this offseason were pointless. I think that'll be fixed. At least it's going to be fixed to whatever degree to avoid that. Now the question is how much, can that become something that they do well is stop the run, and that's to be determined, right? Let's say they do. Let's say they have a quality. They're a solid team in stopping the run. Not an SEC leading, but a solid team in stopping the run.
8 kind of level.
Yeah, middle of the pack, or maybe a little higher, hopefully, because that's what Elko typically does. It's what he's always done. If they get up there into that, well, I don't know what it'd be if it's 5, 6, even in there. Man, I think this offense is good enough that they're going to be able to score some points this year. If you have to even win an up and down game, I think Colin Klein, Marcel Reed, and these playmakers, this running game, this offensive line, I think they can do that. If that's the case, maybe you might have to win a couple of, I don't want to know if I want to call them shootouts, but games where both opponents are in the 30s. It's never the goal, but I think I think finally they're equipped to be able to do that if they need to. So maybe there's a game here or there where they do that. So if that run defense can just get to where it's solid to keep getting that offense back on the field, then I think there's a really high ceiling for this football team.
So I want to break down the other games later, but is there anything that you saw from A&M's opponents that, from an A&M perspective, makes you feel better or worse? So Auburn, what you saw from Jackson Dart. Notre Dame, what you saw from them.
Auburn seems more daunting because of their style of play versus what I saw from the Aggie defense, and it's only a few weeks away. You're going to spread you out. They have a good running back, a running quarterback. They got receivers that can get behind you that I think A&M's already going to be a little worried about. That's a concern, okay? That they're more of a concern than I think before this week, but also Baylor's defense was horrendous. So if A&M can play solid defense versus horrendous, I think that changes. It's easier when you can bully a team on both lines of scrimmage. But Auburn seems tougher. LSU's defense seems tougher.
Yeah.
I just and look, I can say that Clemson's offense leaves a lot to be desired, which is shocking to me. They went and got a guy from, they got Garrett Riley from TCU right after they played for the national title, and they just haven't really impressed me since with I think is a great quarterback. I don't want to say great, a really good quarterback in Cade Klubnik. But you still watch LSU and you're, okay, that's a better defense than they had last year. So that makes them tougher in my mind. I think Notre Dame, about what I thought. Again, that was a tough assignment for them. That was not a bad loss. The way they came back, and I think they're what I thought. South Carolina, about what I thought. I know people are really raving about Sellers, but I thought Virginia Tech did a pretty good job against him and them for much of that football game. I wasn't overly impressed with South Carolina, but that's also what I expected from them. So I think they're about what I expected. Texas, I think it's just too early but I'm telling you, they're playing Ohio State. Okay, so it's tough to try to speculate, like, how does A&M do against Texas? You just watch what Ohio State did. But was I one game in if you're a Longhorn fan listening and you love to hate me, was I wrong about what I said about your team? I never said they were going to be bad. I think I picked them to go 10-2. You're now 0-1. Can you go 10-1 the rest of the way to live up to my prediction for you? But
I'd be worried if I were them.
My prediction was also that Arch Manning is going to be a really good quarterback, but you're overhyping him. And you went crazy last year when I said you're overhyping Quinn Ewers as a top 5 pick and a Heisman finalist. Get him ready for New York. I said, I think you overhype Steve Sarkisian as this unstoppable offensive mind that a couple of you morons, when he squats down on the field and looks like he's crapping in the woods, you guys think he's in, they literally say, oh, Sark's in the Matrix. It's the dumbest crap I've ever heard. Do I think he's a really good coach? Yes, I do. Do I think he's a terrific offensive mind? Yes, I do. Do I think Arch Manning's going to be a really good college quarterback? Yes, I do. Do I think both are overrated in big game settings? And yes, I do. Do I think Arch is overrated because he just hasn't played enough football, but the talent's there and he's going to be good? Yes, that's what I think.
All can be true.
I think he's going to have some great games this year. I don't think he's going to play maybe one defense or Georgia. If that schedule really turns tough, he might face 2 defenses in Ohio State's time zone. And I don't know if that's A&M, if it's Florida, if it's Kentucky. I don't know. Like, I'm making up. But at worst case, they might face 2 defenses the rest of the way in that time zone. So Arch is going to be fine. But they look exactly like I said. When you lose all those linemen and you got a young quarterback going against a Super Bowl champion defensive coordinator, and you're on the road. Like, I thought Texas would win that game because I thought Ohio State lost so much.
Yeah.
Julian Sayin outplayed Arch Manning. He was the game. He understood the assignment, which was be a game manager.
And the Ohio State defense came prepared.
Yeah, they did. Well, and that's Matt Patricia. And I mentioned that as a thing not enough people were talking about. I don't blame Arch for that. I blame Sark. You got out coached by Matt Patricia. Arch Manning didn't. Arch Manning never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
You got out coached by him. And Julian Sayin, I thought Ryan Day did a great job of letting him stay within himself and not trying to beat the Longhorns, by himself or with his arm, and just kind of, hey, we're going to win a 14-7 or 17-14 or at most like a 20-17 type of game.
So
Texas was, I thought they actually showed me a little less than I thought. A little less. But I'm not.
Yeah, it's Ohio State.
I'm picking, after watching the SEC this weekend, there's still, it's to me like Georgia, Texas, and LSU are the 3 that I go, okay, if you have to pick an SEC champ after 1 week, which, I would have removed my sorry-ass pick of Alabama.
I had that too.
And those would be the 3. So it's not like a total knock on Texas, but you're just saying, were you more impressed or less? And they're in the less bucket for me.
To go back to that 10-2 comment that margin of error, when you consider those, in the SEC, what happens is those 50-50 games at night, right? If that Florida game, right, then they go to Oklahoma. Now, I'm not thinking Kentucky, they have no offense, but Stoops is known to muddy it up.
We forgot. You don't know what their defense could look like.
You don't. And then going to Georgia, and hopefully A&M, right? That 10-2 season now, you've just given yourself way less margin for error.
I think Texas is. I would not worry if I'm over there. I would not worry about them. And but you got to look now and go. They really can't lose at Florida or to OU. They have to win both of those games. If they lose one of those games, with a trip to Georgia looming, with A&M at the end of the year, like if they lose one of those 2, it's going to be a real. The folks in Austin are going to be really, really unhappy. That's like you said, that's a tall order. OU in that rivalry game, and then going to
with Mateer looking the way he did,
and you're playing. Well, Who'd they play?
I'm just.
You tap the brakes on Marcel.
I didn't tap the brakes on anybody.
He looks solid. No, I'm just gonna show you. This is it's not a youth. I'm making a point to everybody now. You go. Marcel was solid. It was a solid game because you don't want to say too much because we don't want to upset the masses and we don't want to be. Oh, look at these homers. But then, who'd Mateer play? Who do you think's better, Illinois State or UTSA?
I think UTSA is better.
Would UTSA beat them by 50? Maybe. 40, 30, 20? UTSA is a I know you want to say something. I'm not attacking you.
I think you are.
I know, but I'm making a grand point. This is not an attack on you. It's a point being made at the
I haven't
expense.
been one thing negative about Marcel.
You haven't been negative at all. But my point is we want to say solid because if you go too much, then everybody over here, it's just how they are. And you know it.
Here's the why. No, the why is when you watch your team, you look for things to poke
That's fine.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
And then when people are watching Marcel on national media, they think he was amazing. What did Marty say? What did SEC Nation say? So why
are we scared to do that? Because you had a bunch of yahoos text, not you, but because you as an Aggie had a bunch of jackasses texting you in the first quarter.
I said Marcel played a really good game, missed one throw.
Yeah.
And his receivers were fantastic.
But what we say, and you said it, and I was doing it earlier, you say it was solid. But then when you say Mateer, especially how Mateer looked.
I'm saying watching him, the way he throws the ball, the way he commanded that offense, I was like, he impressed me.
What do you think? Okay, he impressed me too. So, but you see the point I'm making here. Like, what Luke's ilk does this. I'm all over Luke today. Luke's over here sneezing, minding his own business.
Didn't hear anything.
Luke's ilk. I think maybe I'm getting back at you for Olin. You've been picking on poor innocent OB lately.
Ain't nothing innocent about him.
Good point.
So, but it's like, we got to fear Mateer, but
they should put that on a shirt. Fear Mateer.
Yeah, that's a good shirt.
I like that.
I like
OU fans. I'm gonna Luke. Let me tweet that out, not you. If Marcel Reed and was thrown to the guys you saw Saturday night against Illinois State, what do you think that would have looked like? It looked like Mateer.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna say, especially with how Mateer looked, then when Texas plays A&M,
could you say the same thing about
especially what Marcel looked like?
Well, you could say the same thing about our wide receivers, and I'm taking away that was an excellent performance from our wide receivers.
Yeah.
I think we're saying the same thing.
I was just making a point because it reminded me of what I've heard, and you and everyone else that's an Aggie that has friends and reads stuff on TexAgs or social media or whatever. With what Reed did, and I personally don't think it was special. I think it was a really good night. I think it was better than solid. I think it was a really good night. I don't think it was like special. Let's get him fitted for a suit for New York, and let's say they're going to go out now and he's going to be first team all SEC and they're going to win it. But I think that was a very encouraging performance. I think he showed that he's had a really good offseason, like I'd said, and had made significant strides as not as a passer, but just as a player of the position, as a quarterback, passer, running the offense, staying calm, and it was a choppy start and a close game in the third quarter. And he comes out and they go how far down the field for a score, like all of those boxes. Like that's what a quarterback does, and so I felt better about all of those things. But again, I wouldn't say, oh man, that was the greatest game ever. But I would say when I'm making comparisons, like who did I watch in the SEC this weekend that I went, damn, that's a lot better than what we have. I mean, I know Nussmeier won a bigger game and he played against a much tougher test. It doesn't I was more impressed with Nussmeier, but he just, went out and won a game.
He did what he does.
He won a tougher assignment.
Yeah.
Do I think that Marcel could play against Notre Dame the way Nussmeier played against Clemson? Yeah. I don't. It's not guaranteed, but yeah. I mean, I think that's a similar test. So I think Nuss had a better first weekend because of the win they got, but he didn't light them up. Sellers had a better first weekend because they played a tougher opponent in an ACC team, but it's not like Virginia Tech is. They're not world beaters. I mean, are they a bowl team? I don't even know that. So it's a short list. I mean, I wasn't looking around the league going.
But I don't think there's anything A&M or Marcel could have done against UTSA that people would have been what. If you win that game, I tried to say this on Luchador and I butchered it. But if you win that game by 50, well, it's just UTSA. Mm-hmm. If you barely beat them, there's something going to be like, hey, that's a really good team. There's nothing we could have done to come away and be like, that's a good opponent that you beat by 18 points, and Marcel was more than solid.
Yeah. I think again, the offense was good. What kept them from great is great is just touchdowns on your. I mean, like
Missouri last year.
I
that was great.
explained why they had a slow start. Well, part of it was a penalty, which is your own fault, and a 3-and-out, which is not good on your second drive of the season. That was what. Yeah. Punt return didn't help it, but that was why they had a slow start. So, yeah, if you want to have a great offensive game, you come out and you score in your first 3 or 4 possessions, and they didn't do that.
But let's just humor me for a moment. That offense that we saw with that team last year, you win more games. And that offense was good last year. But I think the explosiveness of last year, of this year on last year's team, you win 9 games last year.
Yeah, you win one more game, sure. I think you'd have given Texas a much tougher test as well. You'd have playmakers. You had explosive guys that can get open in that game. And no one really – there were a couple plays Marcel missed in that one that were – guys were open for big plays. But in general, they're not – they weren't good enough to get separation from the Texas DBs or the South Carolina DBs and things like that. They just weren't. And – that makes it tough on a QB. That makes it particularly tougher on a running game as well.
Several teams struggled to run the ball this weekend, by the way. So there is that.
I don't think the Aggies struggled to run the ball.
No, they didn't try to run the
ball. Would I have liked them to get more gash plays like the one Ruben had? Like they ran it. The running backs ran it 13 times. Was that what it was? Was it 13?
Got it.
I think it was 13 times. It was a very low number. You got
running the ball
5, 8,
23
11,
times if you count
13 carries for the running backs.
If you count Marcelo.
13 carries for the running backs. So running backs carried it 13 times. I would have liked to have seen, 4 really nice runs out of that 13 against that team, against that defense. They had. We'll call it 2 because one E.J. Smith's was a touchdown. It's not like he could have run any further. So they had 2. I wish I would have seen 4, 12-yard runs or more against those guys. Whatever. So I think if they would have kept running and just decided to do that, they would have won that game that way. No. And it wouldn't have proven much. We're going to force the run against a team that wants to stop the run. A team wants to force us to pass, but we're just going to run our heads into a brick wall until we're just physically bigger and stronger than them and we wear them down. Yeah. That does not make you better. What makes you better is you let Marcel make decisions with the football. You let your receivers make plays. Because some games you're going to have to do that. You're playing some good defenses this year, and some games the running game is just not going to be there. And 10 in those pass catchers are going to have to either win it for you or at least loosen it up. Where as the game goes on, you can beat them both ways.
We'll head to break. Milliken Reserve Time, farm to table community in College Station. They have homes, they have trails, they got farms, they got a wide open space, and their mission is to build a healthy community around nature. They're committed to treading lightly on the land that you can find Milliken Reserve on, creating a sanctuary for family, for nature, and for community. They're dedicated to that conservation of a healthy community, and they have respect for the native landscape and wildlife. They have an extensive network of trails throughout a wooded landscape. It's a place for families to cherish generation after generation. All the animals you can imagine can be found there at Milliken Reserve, from the white-tailed deer, the songbirds, the rabbits, and the turtles. And homeowners at Milliken Reserve share a legacy of conservation, which means generation after generation, you're coming back to that pristine countryside place. They provide a natural setting for people to connect and come together where you can go hiking, biking, canoeing, you name it. Check out the website, millikenreserve.com. That website again, millikenreserve.com. And we're back, TexAgs Live. I have to read this to the audience because I just find it fascinating. Former Auburn transfer and LSU transfer, TJ Finley commits to Georgia. And just when you look at everywhere he's been. Georgia State, excuse me. Sorry, Georgia State.
Big difference.
Big difference. LSU, Auburn, Texas State, Western Kentucky, Tulane, and now Georgia State.
He was in college as a freshman the same year as me, 2020.
As a freshman.
We are in the same grade.
He started against Texas A&M at Kyle Field when everybody in the stadium had to wear masks.
I was at that game.
That's how old TJ Finley is.
My freshman year.
Wow. So, sorry, I just caught my attention. I thought that was fascinating.
Wait a second. Were there any A&M players that started in that played in that game left?
In 2020? I can't imagine.
Maybe Chappelle, but wasn't he?
No, he wasn't there. He was 21.
He's the only one that could be even close.
21. Jacob Graham was Jacob Graham. When was he?
I think he's also a 21.
Yeah, I think those guys are 21, and that's it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there was.
Now, was Dayon
John
Hayes?
Emery Jr. was in that game. He is still playing
at UTSA, right?
At UTSA.
And so was Max Johnson.
Yep.
Who came off the bench in that game and led LSU to their only touchdown.
Let's see who else.
Some old dudes still playing college football.
I feel like Dayon Hayes played in 2020. I might be wrong.
He might have too. I hope Dayon Hayes has a good year for him, but I'm ready for these old son of a guns to be out of college football.
It does not look like any A&M player that recorded a stat.
No offense, Hayden Schott, but I'm ready for these old people to be out of my sport.
Billy,
I'm tired of it. It's like, you guys are too damn old. Get out of here.
Billy, let's talk about portal and getting the right guys, because TJ Finley, obviously using the portal often. He calls them every day. It's on speed dial. But having the right guy, so A&M.
You think he's got portal in his contact
he says
list?
Siri, portal. Boom. You think there's a hotline? Or
there's definitely a hotline.
Portal answers, yes, TJ.
Again. Anyway, the way A&M used the portal the last couple of years with Coach Elko, right? To me, is exactly what I think 3 or 4 years ago, 5 years ago, whenever portal started, you said, like, to help supplement what your team needs, not build your team off the portal.
Yeah.
This A&M team is exactly that. Yet, the biggest highlights, if you will, came from portal additions.
I mean, yes. The answer is yes. Tell me, because I haven't thought about this. Outside of two, who else?
From this past game?
Yeah, this game. I mean, I know we're expecting a lot. I thought on Yedem, first of all, he played as much as any interior D lineman, so that was a big part. He didn't. I don't think flash. I don't think.
Borkature.
I mean, Borkature had a good catch.
2 catches.
I mean, look. Yeah, I would say the one was really nice. I mean, Cassius Howell, 5 pressures. I mean, these guys are still portal additions when you think about it.
Des Ricks had a really nice game.
Des Ricks in coverage. Obviously, Will Lee started.
Marcus Radcliffe.
I thought had a solid season opening performance. He was one of the safeties that at least flashed with some good plays.
Onyedem, TJ Searcy, and Dayon Hayes played 3 of the 5 most snaps on the defensive line. If you throw in Cassius Howell, who transferred last year, that's 4 of your top 5.
Regis, probably.
Yeah, and then Regis was second.
Yeah, so I mean, you got a lot out of the portal. But as far as like, I think you had Marcel Reed, not a portal. You had the running backs, non-portal. You had the O-line, Armage is a portal guy up front. Coley played a lot. Coley. I like what Cushing was doing. Here's what happens this time of year, and if you're really, it's harder up in the press box. But if you're like kind of seeing the guys come on and off the field, there's a lot of not injuries, but whether it's cramps or whether it's it's that first game and something doesn't feel right. There's a lot of guys tapping out or limping off the field, kind of going straight to trainers, grab them, take them, and then they're back out on the field. You see a lot of that in the first couple weeks of September, late August, first 2-3 games. You see a lot of that because these guys are not used to playing football games. And no, don't start with this. I've been seeing people, we only scrimmage one time. Guys, I'm going to tell you something. If you want to do this one-time scrimmage crap, just because they call it a scrimmage and it's at Kyle Field does not mean that there's like light practices and they're not doing things that are essentially scrimmage. There are certain rules and stuff that when you do X, you have to call it a scrimmage. If you don't do X, it's not a scrimmage. They had some really, I don't know if the day was like Wednesday of each week down the stretch there, but they had some really intense physical competitive practices that to me looked more like what you guys would consider a scrimmage than the actual scrimmage did. When you're trying to work in every single game situation, you take these special teams breaks. So it has nothing to do with that. If they didn't tackle good, it's because they didn't tackle good and they just haven't played real games and they need to get better at it. Or, certain guys aren't good enough at it. And Elko needs to figure out who needs to be on the field more and who needs to be on the field less. So I think you'll see a big improvement this week, but that'll just kind of make you feel a little bit better. But we're not really going to know till they have to tackle Jeremiah Love and C.J. Carr and then Jackson Arnold and those Auburn skill players. By the end of September, we're going to know if that's a real problem or if that was a game one rust, getting to the flow.
We're going to know.
Because we're going to find out real quick. And, you better hope that they can tackle and that they aren't going to get gashed in the running game. So we'll see. I mean, I would love to guarantee you they'll fix that. I trust Elko in that regard because I think it's just what he does. But we ain't going to know till we know.
Yep.
And we'll know soon enough.
Heritage Films, they're preserving family stories that would otherwise be lost. My buddy Chance McClain, he runs the company, and they don't just make documentaries. They're capturing journeys. They're capturing your father's journey, your grandfather's journey, maybe his struggles, your family business, family's entire legacy in a professional and cinematic documentary. These aren't just random videos. These are like HBO, Netflix-style documentaries about your family. Chance travels the world, and he loves talking with the older folks. That's like his group right there. And you're going to regret if you don't capture these stories here soon enough because you are not promised tomorrow. Nobody is. Call Chance up, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341, or visit yourheritagefilm.com, yourheritagefilm.com. It's not just a service. It's a time machine for your family's most precious memories. It is Heritage Films.
And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. He's Billy. I'm David. Billy,
Hello, David.
Hey, Billy. Good, long time no talk. Who do you think is closer to being?
Probably you, not Olin.
Who's going to win the push-up contest? Yes. No. Who do you think is closer to losing their job? Hugh Freeze or Kalen DeBoer? I don't think you like my
Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah.
Hugh Freeze got himself a big win, not big, but it was.
Well, I mean, still
it was
a long
a
season.
must win, and it inspired a little hope over there on the plains. But I still want to say, like, if you're saying who do I think is going to last longer, Hugh Freeze still if he loses to Oklahoma and A&M, they're going to start trying to figure out how to get rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
He could win both those games. I hope he doesn't. But I mean, those are, I think, going to be to whatever degree. Like, if you're doing odds, I think they're no worse than like 40% to win either one of those. So, I mean, they got a legit shot in either one, I believe. I think they'll be, if you made me say, who do you think wins at Kyle Field, I'd say A&M, but it's not like I would lay it down and guarantee it. So, but if they lose those two games, they're going to start figuring, they're going to look at the rest of the schedule and they're going to go, what are we going to do about this? And it's going to start. It would have started last week, but they kind of kicked the crap out of Baylor. I know it was a 1-touchdown game. Kalen DeBoer, the only thing that's holding him upright, and we know how this goes, is that buyout. I mean, they wouldn't fire him after this game, but like, if Alabama goes 8-4 this year, they're going to want to fire him, and 100% of their fan base will agree with the decision maker.
And they'll call Sark.
But there's a $70 million buyout. So it's crazy to me because, they're going to be looking at Sark, their fan base is. They're going to be looking at Kiffin. They might, depending on what Indiana does this year, they might be looking at Cignetti. My guy over there. But, the money is a real roadblock. So Alabama, they've got to be sitting there, the power brokers and decision makers, they have to be sitting there going, dude, we have got to, this guy's got to win. And there's nothing they can do about it, but just sit there and watch. We've been there. We know how it goes. But remember, Texas A&M had to sit through 5-7. They didn't fire Jimbo after 5-7. Yes, they couldn't. Alabama, I don't think the Tide can fire. And they're saying, what about Dan Lanning? So you ain't paying DeBoer $70 million, then paying Phil Knight his money to get Dan Lanning. So just drop that one. It's going to be a wild season on the plant. I mean, in T-Town, I've got a lot of Alabama friends. Probably LSU is a natural. All of us have a lot of LSU people. Probably the second most friends I've got from an SEC school is Alabama. So I've talked to and heard a lot from a lot of them since this weekend, and they're just beside themselves. They don't even know what to think right now. They've been so spoiled. Like one of my buddies was saying yesterday, there's a whole generation of people like the friend he was talking about. And I've got some of that age group. There's a whole generation of them that don't understand what we all understand. And by we all, I mean every other sport, every other college football fan, every other NFL fan, every other sports fan. I mean, there's the Patriots and there's Alabama. There's Belichick and there's Saban, and everything else is different. There's not the Warriors, not the closest thing would have been the Spurs and Popovich, but not even close because there's too much other parity.
Mm-hmm.
Those two stand out so much more above it. And so Bama fans don't, unless you're old enough that you remember Shula and DeBose and, that gap between Bear Bryant and Saban, with the only exception being a fine Aggie, Mr. Gene Stallings, kind of broke that up. But I mean, like, unless you're old enough to remember that, but there's, like you said, a whole generation of these fans that they don't even get it. I mean, imagine Evangelist going through your whole 20s and into your mid 30s and 7 national titles, and DeBoer has lost 5 games out of what did he play? 12, 13, 14. He's 9-5.
And 4 against unranked teams.
Imagine how long it took for Nick Saban. It's like 4 years for him to lose 5 games, almost in any stretch.
And his whole time there, he lost 4 times to unranked teams.
And he's already
DeBoer's done it already in a year.
It's insane. So yeah, they would love to fire him. I don't know how. I don't know how they can.
Who or what?
And I don't know how that team fixes it enough not to drop at least 2 more games. One of them's at Georgia. So now let's call them 0-2. Let's just call them 0-2. Now they've got 10 other games that for that fan base to feel decent about it would be him having to get them in the playoffs and then probably go 10-2. So he has to win all 10 other games. What of anything that you've seen in his tenure says he can do that? I don't even need to look at the schedule because I know last year they lost to Vandy and OU. What of anything on that schedule says they can go win the other 10? There's nothing.
At South Carolina now?
South Carolina, LSU's on there, Tennessee's on there, right? Arkansas.
Missouri will be
Vandy
highly
beat
ranked
them last year. Missouri. I mean, come on. Auburn. It is. Could Bama lose 5 games? Could they be 7-5? Then what happens? So it's going to be fascinating to see. I was dead ass wrong on DeBoer.
I was wrong on Alabama.
He was wrong for leaving Washington.
Yeah.
He was wrong. So
grass is not always greener.
We'll see how it goes.
When we come back, I want to ask you, who was the most impressive this weekend? It can be a team, a player, it can be multiple. I don't care. It's a show. We do whatever we want. It's TexAgs Live.
2 Tickets to Paradise, one of Billy's favorite songs, TexAgs
yeah.
Live, presented by David Gardner Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Who was the most impressive this weekend? I want an Aggie. I want somebody in college football.
Aggie's tough. Who do you pick out of those two?
We can say the
8 for 122 and 2 touchdowns, 3 for 72 and a touchdown plus an 80-yard. By the way, you know Casey Concepcion really was like that close to having 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Not 3. We keep saying 3 because one
of the
got
one
called
that-
back
yeah.
where he stepped 2 inches off the back line, which I still think he saw it differently because we got that ridiculous red out or maroon outline around the outside of it, but which looks good, but I think it's confusing. So he was an inch or 2 away from having a third one, and then the Marcel, he's wide open on the deep ball.
Yep.
I mean, that would have been. I don't know if he had any other yards on that drive. I didn't look it up, but let's say you had 48 to his 72. That's also 122. Of course, that would have taken away a touchdown from Mario, whatever. But my point is, Concepcion almost had 4 touchdowns and about 200 yards of offense.
Yeah.
I mean, 200 total yards. But Craver was spectacular, too. I can't pick between the two. I think that's a for A&M. Around college football, I think Carson Beck was the most impressive. I know there are guys that put up numbers but like the stake of the game, the spotlight, the opponent, the first game at a new place, his team won. It was an upset. It was a pretty significant game for the college football season in terms of like what the playoff chase could ultimately look like. And I thought he balled out. I thought he looked really good. He looked like a leader. He looked like a winner. He let his guys make plays. And again, that's against a really good Notre Dame team that's known for its defense as much as anything else. So I thought Carson Beck and Garrett Nussmeier, he made the big throw to win that game. The other quarterback who's supposed to be a Heisman contender did not. It was a huge build-up, hype between the two QBs. It was a must-win game for LSU, and he went out and got it done. Dude's played in some big games. I still, where I stand with him. Like, I got to see him consistently win those games for them and not be the reason they lose some of them, which he was last year. But that's a great start for Nuss and for LSU. So those are the guys that stood out to me.
How about another one, Matt Patricia? What a debut!
Oh yeah, I mean, if we're going coaches, I think he's your national assistant coach of the week, without question.
Yeah, he was fantastic. I'm trying to see some other ones. Tommy Castellano. What are we doing?
I thought Luke was vaping. He's over there
My
putting
chapstick.
chapstick on.
Vaping at the office, Luke?
Well, I mean, fine. It's fine with me. I mean, Josh might have a problem with it, but I was just looking over there going, this is a wild, wild scene that he can't finish the show without vaping.
Castellanos.
Yeah, I backed up all the talk.
Yep.
You used to love saying that name, don't you? Say it again.
Well, Castellanos is the other say.
I wouldn't say that. I would say
Castellanos. Trying to see some other ones. You know what? Joey Aguilar. I mean,
whatever. Just drop that crap. Come on.
Why?
Come on.
He was impressive.
He was against Syracuse that lost their whole team.
So no matter what I say, you're just going to find the opposite
I just
angle.
did on what you named 6 guys and only one of them.
No, on one of them.
You can't disagree with 17% of what David Nuño says. You didn't, or it's an act of Congress over here.
No, because when I say Castellanos, you're just like, oh, say the name. Hey, Castellanos.
Well, that was
and there was
so 60%, whatever.
And I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize. I'm just going to tell you, C.J. Carr was impressive to me, even in a loss.
I agree. Hey, guess what?
You agree?
I agree with you. So now you're down to like 8%. I disagreed with 8%. You melted.
I haven't melted. I'm still here. I know. And I was wrong about the South Carolina defense based on one game. If I'm going to say something on one game, I know Virginia Tech's probably not going to be any good.
And their quarterback's pretty good. He's a Houston area kid. Yeah.
Played at Baylor for what, a year, I think?
Yeah. Was he Shadow Creek?
Yeah, that's right.
The Kool-Aid man's about to burst. The recruiting Kool-Aid man is about to come through.
He's upstairs. He's getting ready.
Shadow Creek.
Anybody?
You like that one, Luke? Are you picturing it?
Yeah. Just burst through the wall.
Somebody Photoshop that one.
I have a funny text to read about Carson Beck.
Finish it up.
Okay, what people aren't talking about in regards to Carson Beck is he had a crazy girlfriend. She had his whole attention at Georgia. Insiders would tell you as soon as they broke up, he's been a different person and quarterback. The right woman can make you, but the wrong one can kill your soul.
Hey, Hannah Cavender gave me a piece of gum at the ACM Awards, and I think she's very nice. I think that if you're going to blame somebody for quote unquote having a crazy girlfriend, I don't think those if that's even true. Like for anybody, not if you're going to blame someone for quote unquote having a crazy girlfriend, I don't think those things get forced upon you. I don't know. I think we all have had girlfriends or boyfriends. If you're listening and you're like.
Billy Liucci gives relationship.
I'm thinking about Olin right now in this one. But like, if you're dating someone that people are going to give you that crutch, say, well, he was dating somebody that was crazy. You chose to do that. So, I mean, it's your own fault. It's just like if you choose to party too much and it affects your play, it's your own choice. It's your own decision. And
is it a choice who you fall in love with?
God, you're trying to go super deep over here, aren't you? It's your own choice to stay with them. And again, by the way, how many relationships who's the crazy one?
Right.
So anyway.
So many comments I can say. I'll close out with this. There was a YouTube message that said that Taylon Green had the most impressive game. Yes, was it Alabama A&M they played against? 322 and 6 touchdowns. So
yeah, it's really impressive. Go back and look at what Arkansas and Taylon Green did last year in the opener. Like they play. That is the most. Now they play Notre Dame this year, but they just bully up on really, really, really bad football teams. So let's leave him out of the discussion for now.
Thank you, Billy. See you mañana.